On the lion. De leone. Of this lion, O my son, be it said that this is the courage of thy manhood, leaping upon all things and seizing them for thy prey. His letter is Teth, whose implication is a serpent, and the number thereof 9, whereof is Aub, the secret fire of Obeah. Also 9 is of Yesod, uniting change with stability. But in the book of Thoth, he is the Atu called strength, or more truly, lust, whose number is 11, which is Aud, the light odic of magic. And therein is figured the lion, even the beast, and our lady Babylon astride of him, that with her thighs she may strangle him. Here I would have thee to mark well how these our symbols are cognate and flow forth the one into the other, because each soul partaketh in proper measure of the mystery of holiness and is kin with his fellow. But now let me show you how this lion of courage is more especially the light in thee, as Leo is the house of the sun, that is the father of light. And it is thus that thy light, conscious of itself, is the source and instigator of thy will, enforcing it to spring forth and conquer. Therefore also is his nature strong with hardihood and lust of battle, else shouldest thou fear that which is unlike thee, and avoid it, so that thy separateness should increase upon thee. For this cause, he that is defective in courage becometh a black brother, and to dare is the crown of thy virtue, the root of tree magic.
Further on the lion. Altera de Leon. Lo, in the first of thine initiations, when first the hoodwink was uplifted from before thine eyes, thou wast brought unto the throne of Horus, the lord of the lion, and by him enheartened against fear. Moreover, in Minutum Mundum, the map of the universe, it is the path of the lion that bindeth he to highest faculties of thy mind. Again, it is Mao, the sun at brightness of high noon, that is called the lion, very lordly in our holy invocation. Sekhet, our lady, is figured as a lioness, for that she is that lust of Nuit toward Hadit, which is the fiercest of the night of the stars, and their necessity, whence also is she true symbol of thine own hunger of attainment, the passion of thy light to dare all for its fulfilling. It is then the possession of this quality which determineth thy manhood, for without it thou art not impelled, O magic, and thy will is but the slave's endurance and patience under the lash. For this cause the bull, being of Osiris, was it necessary for the masters of the aeons to incarnate me as more especially a lion, and my word is first of all a word of enlightenment, and of emancipation of the will, shewing to every man a spring within himself to determine his will, that he may do that will, and no more another's. Arise therefore, O my son, arm thyself, haste to battle.
On the man. Deviro. Learn now that this lion is a natural quality in man, and secret, so that he is not ware thereof, except he be at it. Therefore is it necessary for thee also to know, by the head of thy SPHINX. This then is thy liberty, that the impulse of the lion should become conscious by means of the man, for without this thou art but an automaton. This man moreover maketh thee to understand and to adjust thyself with environment, else being devoid of judgment, thou goest blindly upon a headlong path. For every star in his orbit holdeth not to his way obstinately, but is sensitive to every other star, and his nature is to do this. How many are they whom I have seen, persisting in a fatal course, in sway of the belief that their dead rigidity was exercise of will. And the letter of man is Zadi, whose number is 90, which is Mame, the water that conformeth itself perfectly with its vessel, that seeketh constantly its level, that penetrateth and dissolveth earth, that resisteth pressure, Mog its adaptability, that being heated is the force to drive great engines, and being frozen breaketh the mountains in pieces. O my son, seek well to know.
On the dragon, which is eagle, serpent, and scorpion. De dracone, que est aquila, serpens, scorpion. Threefold is the nature of life, eagle, serpent, and scorpion, and of these the scorpion is that having no lion of light, and of courage within him, seemeth to himself encircled by fire, and driving his sting into himself he dieth. Such are the black brothers that cry, I am I, they that deny love, restricting it to their own nature. But the serpent is the secret nature of man, that is life and death, and maketh his way through the generations in silence. And the eagle is that might of love, which is the key of magic, uplifting the body, and its appurtenance unto high ecstasy upon his wings. It is by virtue thereof that the SPHINX beholdeth the sun, unwinking, and confronteth the pyramid without shame. Our dragon, therefore, combining the natures of the eagle and the serpent, is our love, the organ of our will, by whose virtue we perform the work and miracle of the one substance. As saith thine ancestor Hermes Trismegistus in his tablet of Smaragda, and this dragon is called thy silence, because in the hour of his operation, that within thee which saith I is abolished in conjunction with the beloved, is its letter Nun. For this cause also, which in our rota is the trump of death, and Nun hath the value of 50, the number of the gates of understanding.
On the four virtues of the SPHINX, Decatur Virtutis. See now our SPHINX, with that subtlety and art is she made whole. Here is thy light, the lion, the necessity of thy nature fortified by the life, the bull, the power of work, and guided by thy liberty, the man, the wit to adapt action to environment. These are three virtues in one, necessary to all proper motion, as I may say in a figure, the lust of the archer, the propulsive force of his arm, and the equilibrating and directing control of his eye. Of these three, if one fail, the mark is not hit. But hold, is not a fourth element essential in the work? Yea, soothly, all were in vain without the engine, arrow and bow. This engine is thy body, possessed by thee, and used by thee for thy work, yet not part of thee. Even so are his weapons to this archer in my similitude. Thus is thy dragon to be cherished of thy lion. But if thou lack energy and endurance of thy bull, thy tools lie idle. And if cunning and intelligence with experience also of thy man, thy shaft flieth crooked. So then, O my son, do thou perfect thyself in these four powers, and that with equity.
Of the balance, in which the four powers are of equal power. De libra in quaquator virtutes equipolen. By Gnana Yoga cometh thy man to knowledge. By Karma Yoga thy bull to will. By Raja Yoga is thy lion brought to his light. and to make perfect thy dragon, thou hast Bhakti Yoga for the eagle therein, and Hatha Yoga for the serpent. Yet mark thou well how all these interfuse, so that thou mayst accomplish no one of the works separately. As to make gold, thou must have gold. It is the word of the alchemists. So to become the Sphinx, thou must first be a Sphinx. For naught may grow save to the norm of its own nature, and in the law of its own law, or it is but artifice, and endureth not. So therefore is it folly, and a rape wrought upon the truth to aim at aught but the fulfillment of thine own true nature. Order then thy workings in accord with thy knowledge of that norm, as best thou mayest, not heeding the importunity of them that pray to fee ideal. For this rule, this uniformity, is proper only to a prison, and a man liveth by elasticity, nor endureth rigor save in death. But whoso groweth bodily by a law foreign to his own nature, he has a cancer, and his whole economy shall be destroyed by that small disobedience.
On the pyramid, de pyramide. Now then, at last art thou made ready to confront the pyramid, when thou art established as a sphinx. For it also hath the foursquare base of law, and the four triangles of light, life, love, and liberty for its sides, that meet in the point of perfection that is Hadith, poised to the kiss of Nui. But in this pyramid there is no difference of form between the sides, as it is in thy Sphinx, for these are wholly one, save in direction. Thou art then an harmony of four, by right of thy attainment of adeptship, the crown of thy manhood, but not an identity, as in Godhead. Therefore, may it be said from one point of sight, that thine achievement is but a perception, an adornment of the bride for the temple of Hymen. And his right, verily, O my son, I deem in my wisdom that this whole work of thy development to sphinxhood cometh before the work of theurgy. For the Lord descendeth not upon a temple ill-conceived and builded wry, nor abideth in a shrine unworthy. Accomplish then this task in patience, with assiduity, not hasting, furiously after godliness. For this is most sure, that to the beauty of a maiden answereth the lust of her lord, spontaneous and without effort or appeal of her contriving.
Concerning silence, prolegomena de silencio. But now concerning silence, O my son, I will have a further word with thee, for thereby we mean not the muteness of him that hath a dumb devil. This silence is the dragon of thine unconscious nature, not only the ecstasy or death of thine ego in the operation of its organ, but also in its unity with thy lion, the truth of thyself. Thus is thy silence the way of the Tao, and all speech a deviation therefrom. This lion and dragon are therefore of thyself, and the man and the bull the feminine counterpart thereof, being the grace of our Lady Babylon, that she bestoweth upon thee in thine adultery with her. They are then as a vesture of honor and a reward that are won by the intensity of thy light and of thy love. So properly we esteem men by the measure of their intelligence and their strength, since they are equal in their essential Godhead. So far as concerneth the quiddity thereof, see thou closely moreover unto it, that if thou be well favored by our Lady, thy lion and thy dragon grow in like measure, for the excess of feminine is dead weight. The intellectual without virility is a dreamer of follies, and the laborious giant without courage is a slave.
On the nature of our silence. de natura silenti nostri. The nature of this silence is shewn also by the god Harpocrates, the babe in the lotus, who is also the serpent and the egg, that is, the Holy Ghost. This is the most secret of all energies, the seed of all being, and therefore must he be sealed up in an ark from the malice of the devourers. If then by thine art thou canst conceal thyself in thine own nature, this is silence. This, and not nullity of consciousness, else were a stone more perfect in adeptship, that thou, but abiding in thy silence, thou art in a city of refuge, and the waters prevail not against the lotus that unfoldeth thee. This ark or lotus is then the body of our Lady Babylon, without which wert they prey of Nile, and of the crocodiles that are therein. Now, O my son, mark thou well this that I will write for thine advertisement, and behoove that this silence, though it be perfection of delight, is but the gestation of thy lion, and in thy season thou must dare, and come forth to the battle. Else were not this practice of silence akin to the formula of separateness of the Black Brothers.
On the correct formula of the dragon, de formula recta draconis. Verily, O my son, herein lieth the danger and the treason of the scorpion, for his nature is against himself, being the deepest ego, that is, a being separate from the universe, and his is the root of the whole mystery of evil, for he hath in him the magic power, which if he use not, he is self-poisoned, even as any organ of the body that refuseth its function. So then his curse is in his ally the lion, that feareth not the crocodile, nor hideth himself, but leapeth eagerly forward. The path of the mystic hath this pitfall, for though he unite himself with his God, his mode is to withdraw from that which him seemeth is not God, whereby he affirmeth and confirmeth the demon, that is duality. Be thou instant therefore, O my son, to turn from every act of love at the moment of full satisfaction, flinging the invoked might thereof against a new opposite. For the formula of every dragon is perpetual motion or change, and therefore to dwell in the satisfaction of thy nature is a stagnation, and a violation thereof, making the duality of conflict, which is he falling away to coronzon.
On his horoscope, de sua carta coelorum. I pray thee to mark, O my son, how the grace of nature was benignant at my nativity, to the right balance and formulation of my sphinx. For Neptune was in the sign of the bull, giving strength and stability to my spiritual essence. Uranus was ascending in the lion to fortify my magical will with courage, and to turn it to the salvation of man. In the waterman was Saturnus, to make mine intelligence sober, profound, and capable of labour. Jupiter, with Mercury his herald, was in Scorpio, harmonising me and my word, according to the essence of my nature. Then of the others, Mars was exalted in the goat, for physical endurance of toil. Sol was conjoined with Venus in the balance, for judgment in art and in life, and for equability of temple. Lastly, the moon was in the sign of the fishes, her loved abode, for a gift of sensitiveness and of glamour. What then am I? I am a transient effect of infinite causes, a child of changes. There is no I, O thou that art not thou, else were I segregated, a stagnation, a thing of hate and of fear, but ever moving, ever changing. There is a star in the body of Our Lady Nuit, whose word is none and two.
Thelema too.